Amen.
Please join me in the American pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas pledge.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you again, and welcome to everyone who's here. With Hadley and John Paul here, it feels like I'm at a council meeting from about 2013. You all do see an awful lot of employees out here, and you all do excellent work, and do appreciate you and everything that you do. So we don't have anything for item number 4, so we're going to move to item number 5, public testimony. Citizens are invited to speak on any agenda topic or any topic or agenda item before and during the meeting by response to the mayor to be recognized. However, unless the item is specifically listed on the agenda, council is required under the Texas Open Meetings Act to limit our response with a statement of specific factual information reciting the city's existing policy on the issue or directing the person making the inquiry to visit with city staff about the issue. No council deliberation is permitted for topics not specifically listed on this agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public testimony? Seeing none, we move to the consent agenda. All items under this section are recommended for approval for the consent agenda. These items are of a routine nature and require only brief deliberation by council. Council reserves the right to remove any item on the consent agenda for further deliberation. Those items are A, approved minutes from August 23rd, regular council meeting, and B, approved interlocal agreement with Tarrant County for roadway striping on the Roberts Cutoff.
Mayor, I'm going to have to ask y'all to take B off for further discussion.
Okay. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak, who'd like to make a motion on consent agenda item A?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda item A.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda item A, minutes from August 23rd. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Item 7 is discussion and or action on items withdrawn from the consent agenda, which is B, approved interlocal with Tarrant County for roadway striping.
The standard interlocal agreement, I don't think the attorney will have any problem with it, but I sent it to him on Friday and I have got no response back. So I just asked the council to approve it subject to the city attorney's approval.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the interlocal agreement with Tarrant County for roadway striping on Roberts Cutoff, subject to final approval by the city attorney. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Marvin has asked that we take item number 10 and move it up, so we're going to go to the public hearing and discussion in order to receive citizen comments on the proposed ad valorem 2022 property tax rate in the city of River Oaks at a rate of 0.75416 per $100 of property value, which is effectively a total tax rate increase of 0.033294 of $100 of value, or 4.61856% from the 2021 tax rate of 0.720874 per $100 of property value. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. Do I need to read the rest of that?
Yes, sir, if you don't mind.
And the notice of public hearing on the tax increase, the proposed tax rate as approved at the previous council meeting was 0.75416 per $100. The no new revenue tax rate is 0.645277 per $100, and the voter approval tax rate is 0.754168 per $100. The proposed tax rate is not greater than the voter approval rate. What do you got?
There's a couple of things I want to start off with, and I'm going to ask Craig.
Open the public hearing at 7:06. Sorry.
Originally, when we come to the council, we had a calculation that we needed to add into it, so that's why we're at the .754168. That is the voter approved rate. That's the maximum rate that you can go to without calling an election. Of that amount, the projected revenue that we would get with that is $3,319,000. $119,345. I had it certified by Tarrant County as we appointed as our DOE. They calculated our calculations and sent it back that it was certified at the amounts that I have presented before you. How this works on tax, the projected revenue from the worksheet, we perform a revenue projection based on 100% collection. For instance, this last year, we have already collected 100.47%. Now, why is it over 100%? Well, some of it is prior year taxes. And out of that amount, we have a ceiling tax. That is where the taxes were frozen in the year that they filed for it. But the ceiling amount projected revenue in 2022 is $429,541. So we take the tax rate that we calculate and add the ceiling tax to it, and that's where we come up with the $3,319,000. Out of that, you're supposed to adopt your budget first. You won't be voting on the tax rate, by the way, tonight. This is just a public hearing. What you do is you will have conversation over the tax rate, and then on the 6th, the city council will actually vote as to adopt the tax rate. But by statute, you have to adopt first the budget, and the tax rate is supposed to be what you have to cover the budget. In our case, when I originally sent this out to y'all, I had a negative $98,236 in the general fund. I now have a negative $128,000. The reason for that is our values for TERS, I just got the spreadsheet on it yesterday, has increased up to $15 million in TERS increment value, which means that the city's part at 75% is going to be around $75,000. So I had to put $75,000 in where I had calculated $44,000 and some odd change, and that's going to put us into a budget of a negative $128,000 at that rate of $75.4168. Gave the council, and I can get into this later, but I gave them two options tonight to look at. One is called option 1, one is called option 2, based on different rates that you can consider. I also did a 5-year plan using the tax rate of $75.4168, and by year 3 we'll be very close to being in the black, and by year 4 we will be in the black, and by year 5 we're nearly $377,000 in the black.
And that's even if we do that $128,000 drawdown?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I redid it tonight and handed it to y'all.
How far in the red are we if we go with if we did go with the 73 that
we would be $213,000 in the red.
So in each of those 5 years, did you assume a rate of the maximum rate?
Yes, sir, I did.
Yep. Which is a significant assumption over the 5-year period.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, we normally, in years past, and sometimes if we did not go to the voter approval rate, which wasn't very many times, but if we didn't, you get what's called an incremental tax. And that incremental tax can be added on to the following year. But in doing that, sometimes you're raising it up 2 cents more probably than what you would have normally done. This year we have none of that because we've already used up our incremental rate. So the rate we have figured at the voter approved rate is